Hey guys, welcome to Talking Strongman. Today we are joined by the newly crowned champion, the World Open champion, two-time Giants Live winner, the one and only T-Rex, Evan Singleton. How is things, my friend?
Things are going pretty good, Laz. I'm still riding high.
You've had a pretty good few months, haven't you?
Yeah. I'd like to think that I've done a little bit more than just redeemed myself from World's Strongest Man.
Well, let's start with Worlds. Worlds didn't go to plan this year. Came in with food poisoning.
Was a big disappointment for me, if I'm being honest. Just training ever since coming off of injury of World's Strongest Man 2020, just coming back from injury, just busting my ass, knowing that the next comp I was going to do was going to be Worlds, just super focused, didn't have anything else on my mind other than going to World's Strongest Man and performing really well. And I get there, like I'm leading up to it. I'm so confident that I'm not only going to take my heat, I'm going to win my heat, but I was also pretty confident that I was going to podium. So I was devastated, to say the least. As soon as I landed down, I ate a little pizza when I first got to the hotel, just because the food that they had ready for us wasn't available at like 9:30 at night. So I got a pizza, and like 10 minutes later, I went and I threw it all up. And I was like, yeah, maybe I just ate some bad pizza or something like that. And then the next day I started getting cold sweats, and I noticed that the throwing up didn't stop. It kept going. And that's when I started having some diarrhea, and as it progressed throughout the day, I was able to eat and drink less and less, to the point where I couldn't take anything in at all. So I was just purging everything that was in my body and not replenishing myself at all, because I wasn't able to keep it down. I couldn't even drink water.
Do you think that was from pizza, or do you think it was something else?
I think it was a stomach virus, personally, because I've never had food poisoning that lasted for like 3.5, 4 days.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So going into day one of World's Strongest Man, I was down about 35, 40 pounds, and I lost all of that in 3 days.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was unlucky, to say the least.
Yeah. But you have bounced back pretty well, my friend.
Yes, sir. I can honestly say I came into the Strongman Classic at Royal Albert Hall pissed.
You look like you had a chip on your shoulder that day.
I did. I was like, okay, I'm starting to get looked at as someone who's just unlucky and can never really pull it off. And I don't fucking like having that stigma. So I went out there and I made a statement. And then when Manchester came around, I made an even bigger statement. I said, no, this is the Evan that everybody should be paying attention to. And this is the Evan that everybody needs to be scared of.
Well, I think you've definitely established yourself as a real contender now for any contest that you're going into. But I mean, Royal Albert Hall was the first chance we saw you since World's Strongest Man. Obviously, I was there competing. Amazing show, as I'm sure you can vouch for yourself. The atmosphere in that venue was just incredible.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, do you remember the head count for the crowd? It was like 3,500 people at most.
It was more than 4,000, yeah.
But like just the way that the structure of the building was, like how it was just risen and there were so many levels. Oh, it sounded like there was like 50,000 people in there.
The way it's designed, unreal. They're kind of on top of you as well. So it just feels incredible. Whereas Manchester probably had more people, but they're a bit more spread out, a bit further away. And it's still great, but that, the Royal Albert Hall was just something else.
It was unreal. It was wild to be in a position where the crowd was literally around you.
Yeah.
And the only place where they weren't like around you was on the stage behind us. And that was it. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I'd love to do another show. I'd love to see another show there. It would be.
I hope that they keep doing the Royal Albert Hall. I would love to keep doing that show. That was awesome.
It was very different to most of the shows that we're used to doing. I mean, I know you've done a couple of the arena shows over here now. You're starting to enjoy coming to England.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. There's just something different about competing in front of a big crowd. I mean, I'm sure I'm one of those people that kind of feeds off of that energy and electricity, and it helps me it helps me like it helps my adrenaline go a little bit. Essentially, it helps me kickstart that mindset. So when I hear the crowd just losing their minds, it just helps my blood get a little bit hotter. And there's people in England that I've grown. Like I've spent a lot of time over there this year, and I'm going to be spending a little bit more because I'm coming back for Giants Live Glasgow, and I'm staying until the Arnold UK. So I'll have been over in the UK for about a little over 2 months this year, and I'm really starting to build personal relationships with everybody in England. And I like it. It's got a lot of really good people in it, and really nice people that I've actually can honestly say I've made really, really close friends with, and I really appreciate that.
I think it does. I mean, Strongman in the UK, I think, is brilliant. I would agree.
I
think the fact that we're not such a big country, no one has to travel too far to get to these venues and stuff. You know, I personally, I've competed all over the world. I know you've kind of started to compete everywhere. You've done worlds a few times now. Nothing beats the one-day shows in the UK.
No. I would agree with that, honestly.
Support.
I would agree with that. I mean, the one-day shows suit me better. I mean, on your video that you did about me not too long ago, which I appreciated, by the way. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Thank you very much for that. The one-day shows just suit me a little bit better. And I'm focusing on figuring out the right mindset that I need for World's Strongest Man so that I can eventually take the title, which I ultimately will do. It just is a matter of time. But yeah, the one-day shows are always a lot of fun. And this is a personal thing for me, is I really like giving back. So I don't take for granted that the fans are the reason why we are able to do this professionally. So like the meet and greets, the signing autographs, taking pictures, I love that part. I really do. Like, I don't care how beat up and tired I am from the competition. I enjoy doing that part. And I'll make sure that every person gets an autograph or a picture if they are waiting in line to see me. I don't care how late I have to stay there.
Yeah, I think I've always loved that as well. I think meeting the fans is so important, and just giving back, like you say, because, I mean, you've been lucky to kind of walk into this. I remember what it was like, you know, car parks, my dad watching, my mum watching, that was it. Now you go there, you compete, and then you've got this big line of people that are just, you know, excited to see you. They're willing to pay money to come to these events. They want to be entertained, and it's just changed so much, and it's so good to see.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It really is. And that's just one of the many reasons why I love coming to the UK to compete. Like, the UK is the only place in the world where I can go, like, as of right now, and be recognized in the street for what I do. I can't do that anywhere else. And I think that is the coolest thing ever.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's
it's like walking around in England. I'll give you an example. Somebody shouted from across the street T-Rex at me. I think that's fucking awesome. I think that's really cool. That made me smile.
It is cool. It's weird with Strongman as well, because people either know who you are and like are massive fans, or they don't have a clue at all.
Yep, there is no in between.
And I've had some funny experiences with that. I was at a service station just queuing up for some food, and this woman ran up to me, threw her baby at me. It was like, "Oh, please, can I have a photo with you with my child?" I'm like, "Yeah, no worries," like we do. And then the guy behind me, he was like, once this lady leaves with her kid, he's like, "I'm sorry, I've got to ask, what the hell was that all about?" He didn't have a clue. It can look very, very strange when you get things like that happening. But the sport is growing so much, and I think the UK is the place to be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, I was having that conversation with a couple of the guys about American Strongman, and it is growing, and it's really awesome to see, but we're just nowhere near the level that you're at. Like, just not even necessarily strongman. Yes, strongman, but more strength sports in general, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, just strength in general has such a rich like history here. And I feel like we kind of lack that a little bit in American culture to an extent. And I would just love to see it build to the point where we could get to the point where we could sell out stadiums in strongman in the US. I think that would be the goal for me personally.
That would be incredible. If we can get to that level, then we are all doing very, very well and where we want to be. I mean, you know, Madison Square Garden, somewhere like that, or
Yeah, that would be so cool.
They actually did a show in Madison Square Garden a few years back. I think Travis Whitmire won it, but Travis against Derek Poundstone. I think Travis took the win. So
wow, okay.
But obviously the sport has grown since then. So I think maybe we could make it bigger and better and get T-Rex competing.
Oh, hell yeah. You want to make a show entertaining, you got to hire me. You got to get me in there. I mean, you're looking at the future of American Strongman, brother.
That's it, man. No, we believe you. It's all good. You've got a lot of support from this household. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It was really cool because I got to compete against you in your very first big international.
And I got to compete with you in your last one.
Yes, there we go.
Oh,
there we go.
I didn't even. I was just never really at the forefront of my mind. That is awesome. That is so freaking cool. That's cool. I like that.
I like it too, man. I like it too. It was a pleasure to compete with you. It really was.
Oh, likewise. Pleasure was all mine.
So, moving on from the Royal Albert Hall, you came second at the Royal Albert Hall
by 1.5 points.
1.5 points. Oh. You let the 2020 World's Strongest Man beat you on that occasion, but you did beat the current World's Strongest Man in at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes, I did.
Manchester, you take the win. You beat the 2020 World's Strongest Man. In the last 2 months, you've beaten the last two winners of World's Strongest Man. How does that feel?
I think that might be a little bit of a hindsight into maybe a little bit of foresight into the future. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe 2020's World's Strongest Man and 2021's World's Strongest Man just got beaten by 2022's World's Strongest Man.
It could well be. It could well be indeed. I mean,
who knows?
You saw the video I made. I think it's definitely possible. I do.
Yep.
I do think at the moment you're very much like I was in my career, where I was better at the one-day shows.
Yes.
You get so fired up, but it doesn't matter on a one-day show. It actually helps you because you can just kind of dig deep and you can bring out some insane performances. What happens at World's Strongest Man, you do that day one, and then by day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, if you're into the final, you're screwed.
Yeah, pretty much. That sounds about right. Yeah.
But I think, how many times you compete at Worlds now? Twice.
Twice competing, once for an alternate.
So you've got some good experience now. And I'm sure you don't need me telling you, it's just about controlling that energy and knowing when to bring it down and calm down. It's such a long show, World's Strongest Man. I think mentally it's harder than physically.
Oh, God, yeah. I would agree with that.
And it's just being able to, I guess we're the type of people that your heart on the sleeve, you give 100%, and just sometimes it can cost you. Sometimes it pays off brilliantly and you can do incredible things.
Yep, absolutely.
So in Manchester, you had 2 targets. You kind of surpassed what I thought you were capable of at the moment. I actually believed you had a great chance of winning the show. I was saying to Liz off screen, but I had you coming at second. Liz had you there to win. I did off camera say I think Evan's got a great chance, but I thought you might drop a few points on the deadlift. You proved me wrong. You came and you smashed that 1,000-pound deadlift, which was awesome to see, by the way.
Oh,
not just your deadlift, but the whole standard was just nuts.
Oh my God. 7 guys in one comp deadlifting 1,000 pounds plus. That's just obscene.
Absolutely mental.
It just shows you where the sport's going in such a short amount of time.
Oh,
like
man,
that's fucking ridiculous. Yeah.
We could be at the point where 1,000 pounds is like the new 400.
Yeah, we very well could be. Yeah.
You did the 1,000 pounds. You went and performed brilliantly for the whole show, took the win. How did that feel getting your second Giants Live victory?
Oh, it felt amazing. It really did, because for a couple of reasons, honestly. I love the crowded shows, and I feed off of that energy. And not only was it me showing like a little bit of redemption from my World's Strongest Man performances, but also to me, it was showing that I'm not only in the same league as like Alexei Novikov, as like the Brian Shaws and all of these big name guys, Tom Stoltman and all of them. I have the potential to beat these names too. And that meant a lot to me because I think mentally in my head, it kind of just reassured the thought of, yeah, I'm going to win World's Strongest Man because all of these guys are beatable.
Yeah.
So they're not invincible. And yeah, now I'm hungrier than ever. I'm going into the Shaw Classic this upcoming weekend fucking hungry.
I want to talk about that in a second, but you absolutely proved yourself to be one of the top guys in the world currently. And I think we're in an exciting time in strongman right now where I genuinely believe there's a handful of guys that can win these major titles.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, looking back at the World's Strongest Man history and just strongman in general, I can't really recall a time where there's been so many guys that have been so good and so close that it could literally go in any direction. It's 100% at this point about who makes the least amount of mistakes. That's where we're at right now.
That seems to be, I was going to bring up your training and stuff. You seem to have really focused on improving weaknesses rather than pushing strengths. And I think that's one of the, I mean, it's brilliant on your part. It's a testimony to the way you've been training and your thought process as well. You're not fussed about breaking records, are you? You want to focus on winning titles.
Yeah, I am 100%. Like I'll tell you this, the same thing that I tell everybody else. If I feel like I'm capable of getting a world record and it's in a competition that I'm already signed up to do the full show, I might go for it then if I'm feeling good on that day. Yeah. But I will never pursue a world record over a title. I want to be the world's strongest man. I want to bring home as many Giants Live gold trophies as I possibly can. I want to win the Brian Shaw Classic. I want to win titles because to me, this is just my personal mindset. Having a world record is amazing. And then somebody breaks your world record and you're almost instantly forgotten.
Yeah.
Maybe with the exception of Eddie, because Eddie was the first one to do 500 kilos. But outside of that, nobody remembers who held the record before the current world record holder. But if you win World's Strongest Man forever until the day you die, you will be a World's Strongest Man winner. And that's what's appealing to me.
Beyond the day you die, you know?
Yeah.
No one can ever take that away. When you get titles, they'll always look back and say, you know, you were the champion of such and such year. And
absolutely. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to build, for me personally, I want to build a legacy. And winning World's Strongest Man is the first step to doing that.
Were you always a fan of strongman? Because I know wrestling was kind of the first thing for you. Had you been a fan of strongman before that?
Actually, no, I wasn't. I had very little information and knowledge on strongman before I started getting into it. Obviously, for like the longest time, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. And once I got into the WWE when I was right out of high school, when I was 18, and I saw what it was, and I saw how it was conducted backstage and how people interacted with each other, it wasn't the right place for me. It wasn't the right environment for me. I didn't like a lot of stuff that I saw. And obviously then I got injured and I wasn't able to continue doing it regardless. So it was kind of an easier decision for me to make. And then after a little bit of getting really heavy for not doing anything, I got back into shape and did bodybuilding. And I gave that one show. I proved that I could do it. I dedicated myself to it for like a solid 7-8 months of hard dieting with no cheat meals and hard training. Got up on stage. I proved that I could do it. Never again. Never again. I'll never even consider doing bodybuilding ever again. Ever.
It's
so
it takes.
And keep in mind that when I was doing bodybuilding is when I started learning about strongman and a little bit about powerlifting, just to kind of get myself immersed in the whole strength sports like culture, I guess you could say. So after I was done with bodybuilding, I wanted to give powerlifting or strongman a try. Found my gym, McMillan's Training Systems in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It was a strongman and powerlifting gym. So there was a guy in there doing log press. So he actually invited me to join him for a training session. And I want to say about a week and a half, 2 weeks into training, I was like, yep, found it. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to pursue this as hard as I possibly can. I'm going to put all my energy into this and I'm going to be the world's strongest man.
Do you think if you knew about strongman from a younger age, it would have been your main thing that you wanted to focus on?
Yeah, I do.
The reason I asked that is just because the more we can get people seeing the sport, it's going to bring more people into it that want to.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to think a guy as talented as yourself didn't even know about strongman, until a couple of years
ago. I was 25.
It shows we've still got a lot of work to do in terms of growing the sport. I
couldn't agree more. Like a lot of the mainstream attention that strongman gets over here, honestly, is World's Strongest Man reruns on ESPN.
Yeah,
that's how in America. That's how the majority of people can kind of associate what I do for a living. And I'll tell people, like, you're huge as shit. Are you a football player? Are you like a pro wrestler or something? No, I compete in strongman. Strongman, what's that? Have you seen the ESPN show where they're picking up cars and big rocks and logs? Oh, that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
that's how I always describe it, because I know that people will get that.
I was very similar in terms of it was always just at Christmas on TV. So I used to get, you rugby player, what do you kind of do? No, I compete in strongman. That, like the stuff you watch at Christmas time. And then they're like, oh, did you pick up those rocks and you pull trucks and stuff like that? Or they mentioned Jeff Capes. That was kind of like, your normal strongman conversation. Whereas now people know what we do, which is great.
Yep.
Not everyone, it's still got to get a lot bigger, but there's people that understand we don't just compete once a year at World's Strongest Man. Yep. There's a whole season, and the amount of times I get people, oh, you're gonna go in for it again. So I do this stuff year round. It was especially back then, it was nonstop. But people just see the one show, and it shows how powerful World's Strongest Man is. It is still by far the biggest show to win.
100%. I describe World's Strongest Man when I describe that. Yeah, I travel all over the world to compete multiple times a year, yada yada yada, all of that. I always describe World's Strongest Man again, and to Americans, they'll understand this reference more than anything. World's Strongest Man is the Super Bowl of our sport.
Yeah,
that's because it is. There is no title that holds World's Strongest Man caliber merit.
And trying to kind of compete with it. But right now, I know from the videos that I put out, like if I put a Giants live video, it'll get a certain amount of views. When I put a wuss video, it'll get a certain amount of views, under 105s, women's contests. When I mention World's Strongest Man, suddenly the views just kind of shoot up. When, because
there's a reason for that.
It's the big show. It's the one that everyone wants to see. It's the title that everyone wants to win. You all want to be, or we all want to be, known as the world's strongest man. It's just it's like being the fastest man on the planet. Or it's a cool title.
There's, and you can look at it from this point of view. There's multiple different competitions throughout the year that can challenge for, I guess, the merit of the world's strongest man. Like it's a lot heavier, so it should be called that, or yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, nobody has the title of world's strongest man other than world's strongest man. That's what you want.
Absolutely. And like you said there's other shows that we as professional athletes understand the prestige of. The Arnolds, for instance, the World Ultimate Strongman, the Giants live shows, all great titles. But in terms of popularity and in terms of the title to have, we all want to be the world's strongest man.
Exactly.
Anyway, you have another big show coming up in less than a week now, a few days.
Yeah, I actually fly out. To this competition in 2 days.
How are you feeling for it? You must be feeling good.
I'm feeling good, honestly. I had a little bit of kinks in the back and a little bit in the knees after Manchester, especially flying back, which was a nightmare in and of itself. But I saw my physio. I got worked on by my massage guy. I've been doing my hot cold therapy. I've been resting. I've been training smart. So I'm not really. I did a couple of events just to kind of grease the wheels a little bit on that one. And for the most part, I've just been doing bodybuilding stuff, getting some blood flow, keeping my cardio up. And I'm ready to go out to Denver, Colorado to compete in the Brian Shahlaei Classic. And I'm really, really excited for it. I think they're going to be solid. It's a really solid lineup of guys, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Great lineup of athletes and a great lineup of events as well.
Oh yeah, 8 events spanning over 2 days. Oh man, it's gonna be. It's really. Brian did a really good job of pretty much picking events that will expose you if you're good at like 1 or 2 things and not so good at everything else. Because the events that he picked will test you in every single way, and I respect that. I really like that.
That's how you find out who's the best. It's
exactly
simple.
Exactly. I mean, you were just talking about bigger shows that could challenge as far as prestige amongst the athletes and all that. Brian Shaw Classic is definitely one of those comps. 100%.
Absolutely. So looking at the events, what are you looking forward to? What are you a little bit more concerned about?
I would say if I had to be concerned about anything, probably the car squat, just because I know that there's a lot of really solid static guys there who are good at squat. I don't have access to a car squat mechanism in my gym, so I've just been kind of doing regular squat to kind of level that out a little bit. And squats, I've been working on pretty hard, never have been like my best event. So maybe a little bit concerned about that one. But to be honest, that's the only event where I feel concerned at all. I'm really, really looking forward to Circus Dumbbell for reps. I really like Circus Dumbbell. I think I can make up some good points there. I would really like to beat my personal best on log, max log at 450, which is like 206 kilos. I would really like to beat that just to increase my overall PR. I'd like to pull over 1,000 pounds on the home retired deadlift. I think that'd be cool to pull over 1,000 pounds back to back. I think that'd be really cool.
I think you will.
What's that?
I think you will pull over 1,000 on that. No problem.
I think so too. Yeah, I've got it in me.
I think the yoke you got to be looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to yoke. I mean, anybody who knows me has been following me. I'm a big fan of yoke. It's a little heavy, but I'm still really looking forward to it.
How heavy is the yoke at the Arnold's?
1,100 pounds at what?
Sorry, at the Shaw Classic.
It is 1,100 pounds for 50 feet drop and 50 feet back.
No problem for you.
Nope. I'm going to breeze through it.
I think that's an event you could definitely win.
I think so too.
Looking at lineup,
I think so.
I was looking at the events the other day, just thinking where you'd be strong, where you'd be weaker, and there's not many weaknesses for you.
No, that's one thing that I've really been working hard with my coaches, Adam and Kim Dirks, and I've been working really hard to make sure that not only am I trying to be as well-rounded as possible, but I would like to make my weaknesses my strengths, because I do not like knowing that I have a weakness. That bothers me. So that motivates me to work on it even harder, which is why I got so good at stones out of nowhere. I was actually really happy about the Strongman Classic, my stone run, because the only person that beat me was Tom Stoltman, who's like, he could walk out there with one leg and no arms. And
you could be okay with Tom Stoltman beating you at stones, can't you?
Yeah. But the fact that I beat everybody, and it was before that competition, it was widely known Evan doesn't have good stones, so it's not looking too good for him.
And then I go in there. Back. You've done stones well in 2 shows back to back. That's when you start thinking, okay, this guy's really improved that.
Yep. I ended up taking 3rd in the stones at Manchester and 2nd to Tom Stoltman at the Strongman Classic. So I'm consistently good at stones, and that felt really good. Honestly, for the Strongman Classic, I think that was probably one of my favorite moments besides being on the podium was my good stone run, because I feel like it just took everybody by surprise. And I kind of like that. And I did that on purpose. I purposefully didn't upload any stone videos at all, because I didn't want people to expect me to do super, super well. They expected me to do poorly, and then I went out and did super well.
To be quite honest, what you and this is where a lot of people go wrong. They watch what people do in the gym rather than what people do in competition.
Yep.
It's more important what people do in competition than what they do in the gym. And when I say that, I know some incredible athletes that you see them in the gym, you'd think this guy's the world's strongest man, but as soon as the whistle goes, they crumble under pressure.
Yeah.
Being able to compete is a skill in itself. And that's,
I couldn't agree more.
That's why I always kind of try and revert back to what I've seen people do in contests rather than just seeing Instagram videos, because it's very easy to look good in your own gym. We can all look amazing in our own gyms. It's easy. But when you see people perform and consistently perform on certain events, then you think, well, this guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to
Yep.
bring it when it counts. And, on a much, a different scale, I just saw Donna Moore win the UK's Strongest Woman this weekend. And the difference between her and the other athletes was her competitiveness. She just wanted it more than anyone else. And it just, that is something you almost can't train it.
I agree with you. I mean, I do feel like to a certain extent, that's something that you're either born with, you have it, or you don't. Some people are competitive by nature and some people aren't. That's just the way that it is.
Do you think you're a little bit competitive, Evan?
Oh, I know I am. I'll go into a competition that I'm not confident that I'll win at all. And I'll still go out there and try to kill every event like I'm trying to kill everybody. Yeah.
Do you have any brothers or sisters or anything like that?
I had a sister growing up. Nobody in the household really pushed me though. So I was also an amateur wrestler at a very young age. So I learned a lot of my competitive nature from that. Cool. Just twisting people up into pretzels.
But you do see that these people that they just find a way of winning. And me and my brother and my father were always really competitive with each other, just from the stupidest of things. Didn't matter what it was that we were doing, but we all wanted to beat each other and be better. And it's stupid when you look back, but it does help when you kind of go out into, a sporting environment and you know how to compete. It's completely different to just lifting in the gym, doing whatever you want at your own pace. And you'll know from these Giants Live shows, they're fast paced.
Hell yeah, they are. The Giants Live crew is like really, really professional with that. Like they're on it. Like they have their plan of how they're going to maneuver all of the equipment and get set up for the next event, like days or even weeks before the competition even starts. So they're on it.
And an amazing team, the Giants Live team. They just kind of know exactly what they're doing.
Bunch of good guys too. I really like those guys.
You enjoy staying up in Yorkshire?
I do. Official Strongman asked me a question at Manchester before the show started. And they asked me, I was staying in Yorkshire, and they asked me, are you picking up any British slang or lingo or anything like that? And I said, I don't know. I heard cunt a lot.
Yeah, you'll hear that all over. How was the training up? Did you train at Darren's gym most of the time?
I did. Yeah. I trained at Darren's gym, and then I would run down to the yard where all the kit was, like the Viking press and the farmers and all of that. And I love training at that gym because I've gotten to know, because the Giants Live crew, they all train there. So they're all like buddies with Darren. Obviously I got to train with Darren, ask him questions and tips and stuff like that. He was kind enough to give me a bunch of tips that I really appreciated, and definitely will harass the shit out of him for more tips in the future. The people that go to his gym, like there's some powerlifting people that go there. They're all very, very sweet. And being there for like a month, I got to establish relationships with them too. And it's just all really good people. I had a great time training there. It's a good atmosphere.
Did you get to train with Kaz at all?
I did a little bit. He likes to give me a little bit of critiques on my deadlift. So that was fun. But yeah, I actually got to stay with Kaz for a little bit. We have a rented house, kind of like an Airbnb kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
And so Kaz is actually still over there right now. And I would imagine that's probably where I'm going to stay when I come back.
Awesome. It must be pretty cool to just be kind of hanging out with a legend like Kaz every day.
It's amazing. It really is. I mean, when I first got into Strongman, Kaz was one of those people that I idolized. So it's really cool to be able to spend so much time with him and hear what he has to say about training and experiences and stories from the old days and all of that good stuff. It's awesome. It really is.
Well, I'm going to let you go, mate, because I know you've got lots to do before you head off to the Shore Classic. But it was a pleasure competing with you at the Royal Albert Hall. Best of luck this weekend at the Shore Classic, and I look forward to seeing you when you're back over in the UK in a few months.
Sounds like a plan to me. Let's set up a training time together.
Definitely, buddy. You'll have to take it easy on me now, but I look forward to it.
All right, brother. Thank you very much for having me.
Guys, Evan Singleton. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.